Welcome to another inspiring episode of HERcast with Dr Chito, where we celebrate bold women who dare to dream, pivot, and pursue their passions. Today's guest, Mrs. Victoria Nwuche, is someone who epitomizes creativity, resilience, and courage. She started her professional journey in the legal world, but discovered that her true calling was far from the courtroom, it was on the stage. As the CEO of C3 Media, she has transformed her lifelong love for storytelling into a thriving career in theater, producing plays that captivate audiences and spark important conversations. Her journey from law to theater is a testament to the power of believing in yourself and following your dreams, no matter how unconventional they may seem. In this episode, we're going to explore her inspiring story, uncover the heart and soul behind her productions, and reflect on the lessons she's learned along the way. Get ready to be inspired, as I already am, by her journey of reinvention and the transformative power of creativity. You would not want to miss this. It is great to have you here, Victoria. And when you see me struggle, because I know her as Makamba, so if I interchange the name, please pardon me.
No problem.
All right, it's great to have you here. Welcome to HERcast with Dr Chito.
Thank you.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I know she doesn't really like to be on the limelight with all she's doing, but I'm so happy that you're here because your work, who you are, your work, your everything that you express is something that I want the world to see.
Thank you.
I love it. Now, I'm going to just jump into the questions now, okay? What gave you the courage to leave your law career and pursue your passion for the theater?
Okay, I'd actually stopped practice long before I started theater. I stopped practice because of family demands. I have 5 children and just the demands of motherhood just was a lot. So I decided to stop, and I was just a stay-at-home mom. I've always liked storytelling. I've always actually written, but not conventionally. Yes, and then I've always liked to observe. I've always liked to put my thoughts down. So I had a chat with my dance instructor, and I said, oh, "Can we do something together?" Because I love dance, and I thought we could work together to do something on stage, and that was how we started.
Wow.
Yeah.
What inspires you? How do you stay inspired to create? Because I'm going to go into your plays, but how do you stay inspired to create meaningful and impactful plays? Because the thing about your plays is that it's just not about only creativity. Each of your play tells a story that impacts the people individually, community, women. So how do you stay inspired to be able to do that over and over again? Because one is about coming up in 2 weeks or a few weeks, but how do you stay inspired to do this?
So essentially, we want to use the platform to touch lives, so that when you are watching a play, you're seeing yourself, you're seeing your mother, you're seeing your friend, you're seeing your dad, you're seeing a sibling, something. You can relate to something on stage. So, for instance, with Mutanda Namundu, there wasn't actually, it was just out of, I love that play so much. I'm from Akwa Ibom. I know about the play. I've always known about the play. I grew up in Calabar, but I wanted to showcase that there's some selfishness in the play. Some of the characters exhibited selfish character traits, and the result would be loss. So we brought that out in the play. So every time we have a play, we try to pass on a lesson, a message, some information, some moral values and things like that. So that's what it is.
How do your plays reflect your personal journey?
Well, I'm a woman and I see what women go through. I have siblings, I have friends. So a lot of my plays, showcase women's struggles and highlight them so that women who watch in the audience see that, I'm not alone. It's not peculiar to me. There is a way out. Somebody has gone through this and has survived it and learned a lesson, or somebody who hasn't been through would understand, what can I do to avoid a situation like this? So even though I haven't had most of the things I've portrayed, thank God I haven't experienced them personally, but I know people who have, and it's all around us.
It's definitely in the community for sure.
Exactly.
So your first play, how did you feel? Because the first play is like the firstborn child.
Yeah.
It's a new experience.
Yeah.
It's tougher. Actually, I'm sure it's gotten easier now to produce plays, or has it gotten harder?
I keep setting higher standards for myself.
Okay.
And I don't want to disappoint my audience and my sponsors and my cast. So I'm pushing myself even more. So I can't say that it has gotten easier. I mean, I've learned a lot. I don't have any academic knowledge of theater. So my husband tells me that I'm doing that now. I'm learning a lot. I've learned a lot. But with Mutanda Namundo, I wanted to I felt like stories from those parts of the country were not being told enough. That's why I picked that one, and it's such a lovely story.
I loved it. I will not say. I told you just now, I loved that play.
Yes. I changed it a lot though. Like the end is completely different from the original story.
Okay.
I got the consent of the author's family to do that. So it was a dream come true, really, for me, seeing the audience come out, invest their time and their money to watch us. I felt like, look, we have to give them their money's worth and their time's worth. And I believe that by the grace of God, we did. So it was a dream come true.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you're welcome to this show. I present to you Mutanda Namundo.
Great mother of the sea, you have always been a provider, a blessing, a protector for all of Bokondo. I seek your help on a very sensitive and crucial matter.
You may go ahead with your request, child.
Thank you, great mother. It is an open secret that our king, my husband, cannot father a child. But who is brave enough to tell a lion that his breath smells? Please, bless me with a son to give our king his heir.
A person who invokes a storm on his people cannot prevent his own house from being destroyed.
Can I ask what your favorite play is thus far? Or do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I do have I love all of them. I absolutely, because I wrote most of them except Mutanda Namundo. Every other one I've written myself. But my favorite one has to be Reflections.
Yeah, that was a deep one.
Yes.
That was deep. I think when it ended, everybody was like, you're quiet before you start the clap, because it was really deep.
Yes. And we actually had people leave the theater in tears. You know, yeah, it was a very deep. That's my favorite.
Where I was
thing.
sitting, there's a lady beside me that was crying.
Yeah.
And my heart was like, I feel like just asking, are you okay? And I was just like, maybe I should just mind my business. But you can see that she was tearing, she was crying. Tell us a bit about Reflections.
So Reflections tackled different angles. So a woman was living in an abusive relationship, but her abuser was also abused as a child. Her husband had been abused as a child. So really, the abused child becomes an abusive partner, an abusive husband or whatever. So, because that's what he knows. So we were not only telling from the lady's perspective, we were also telling from the man's perspective. Because nobody wants to live in a hostile, toxic environment, but maybe that's what he knows. So you need to address childhood trauma.
Yes.
We talked about that. We talked about sexual abuse. We talked about financial abuse. We talked about physical, verbal abuse. We talked about antiquated cultural practices. Because there are some parts of Nigeria where if somebody dies in a particular way, they are not buried in a conventional grave. Their body is taken outside, somewhere else. You know, for instance, suicide, death by suicide. Maybe the person has open wounds and things like that. So we showcased that. So for me, that play touched on so many things.
Honestly.
And I think that a lot of people could relate. A lot of people were actually even shocked that things like that still happen. So,
Do you know what I thought of? They should turn that play into a movie as well.
Yes.
You should have it at home to be able to watch over and over. Most of your plays actually, even if it's not even a movie, theater should play that we should just be able to get, and it's a Netflix worthy
Thank you
production.
so much.
That's what I feel.
Thank
I'm
you.
a fan. You can see I'm so much
Thank you.
fan.
Thank you so much.
How do you balance the storytelling? So this is the story with the technical and creative demands of producing a play. How do you balance that?
I have a great director who works with me. He's worked with us from the beginning, and by the grace of God, he will be with us. And so he brings that part on board. So basically, I write the stories, and I know what I've envisioned, and I try to get him to manifest it on stage. So all the technical things, he does all of that. And we also have a choreographer who works with us, because dance is always an integral part of our plays. So the dances are themed to tell the story even more. So we have them, and they are thespians, so they bring that on board.
So that's it's pretty much
it's
the whole
collaborative
collaboration
work. Yes, for sure.
Okay. But what has been the rewarding moment of your journey in the theater world?
The young people who are so talented, I see them showcase their talent and their skill on stage. They work really hard. I mean, physically work hard. They show their skill, their training, and their passion for the arts. I see them growing. There's some people who started with us, they're shy, but now they have stage presence. They can hold the audience. We had a situation where there was a power cut on stage in one of our plays, and they're able to manage themselves until the power came back on. So I see that, I see their dedication, I see their commitment, and honestly, for me, a lot of my my joy comes from seeing the cast grow. And of course, my audience has grown organically. I'm grateful to God for that. So gradually, people are getting to know somebody. I was in Wuse Market the other day, and somebody said, "C3 Media."
Yeah, because it has. You have a full room. You pull a full room.
By
So
the grace of God,
you pull a full room. I think very soon we're going to move venues.
By God's grace.
You definitely will be, because I don't know. I love it. Now, talk to us about upcoming plays or projects you're really excited about. I know there's a play coming up in December 14.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want to, and thank God I'm asking, so I was going to ask you anyways about this. I always like to know, okay, what's the storyline of this play? So tell us a bit about that upcoming project and why behind it.
So this year our theme has been stories. We've been telling stories this year. Stories that directly affect people's stories, because everybody has a story.
Yes.
And stories behind the stories. And so we started with Misty Salon. That was an all-female cast with women's stories. And then we had Nke Niger, which was Nigeria's story on Independence Day. Yeah, that was really good.
Yes.
That was actually a dance production with there's a collaboration with Elevators NG.
Okay.
And so now this is Chronicles of Ronsewa CS. I don't want to give out too much information, but basically it's also a play about people's stories. I'm not going to say who the people are, because it will. I want you to come there and say, "Oh, this is what it is about." So yeah, it's also people's stories, and I know that people in the audience will connect with one or two of the stories. Yeah.
All right. So, which of your plays? See, I know. Well, I don't know if it's going to be reflection. I'm assuming, but which of your plays do you feel had the most profound impact on your audience?
I think between Reflections and Misty's Salon.
Okay.
Misty's Salon was an all-female cast. The dancers, everybody was female, and we had people's expressions in the audience that were just iconic, you know. And so I know that people with Reflections and Misty's Salon, people were really, really touched. Audience came up to meet me, came up to meet my cast to have conversations.
What was Misty's Salon about?
Misty's Salon was set in a salon, and women came to have their hair done. And, you know, because also every hair has a story. Some people, their hair is falling off.
Yes.
And so maybe it's stress and all of that. So they come and somehow they get to talk to Misty, who is the salon owner, and share their issues with her. And she advises them. And, you know, so that was, we had someone who was, you know, we talked about sexuality. We talked about abuse. We talked about mental health and drug use. People are going through a lot of things. So the Misty's Salon customers came in with different issues and talked to Misty. That's what it is.
My purpose today is not to entertain you with tales of flamboyant hairdos or makeovers. No, my purpose is to remind you that behind every hairstyle is a woman with a story. And it is my job to listen and offer encouragement and support without judgment or bias. In this lively salon of mine, I offer a safe haven to women from different backgrounds. Here, they can unburden their minds. Sometimes I have to draw the stories out. Other times, they share liberally. Either way, there's a story to be told because everyone has a story.
In a snap, he slapped my cheek, pulled me and pushed me towards the edge of our coffee table. me!
My family, society, everyone. They want me to believe that God hates me. Yet, I have seen God come through and work for me in unimaginable ways, you see.
Sherry, come. Because I'm on diet. Make it 6 okpa. Okay. Very hot. No problem. I don't want the one that has vegetable. No problem. Oh yeah, be fast.
What is my name? Prophetess. You are calling me all this general market name? I am a video shaker. Did you hear that? How you call it? A video shaker.
You know, you're play advocates. I think that you can say so much and we can do so much on stage. Like when I watch the plays, there's always something you take with your heart. And have you ever thought of collaborating with advocacy groups and stuff with the play, especially reflection. Reflection is like iconic for the fight against violence against women and children. I think that for me was kept on saying this is just a, if anybody could watch this, or you put in a room, different rooms, and say, okay, let's take this on tour. And that's my next question actually. But this would be a great advocacy. Have you ever thought of using it just beyond that day on stage or beyond the performances and say, let's use this play as an advocacy tool?
Yeah, it would be a brilliant idea, and I know it's growth gradually. I don't want to push myself too much. And I want to be sure of. There's so many things that I want to do, but I just want to take my time and be well grounded in everything that I'm doing. And so, yes, definitely, one day we will have the opportunity, by God's grace, to do that level of advocacy. But like with Mrs. Salon, we had the British High Commission supported us on that because of the issues that were raised in that play. Okay. So yeah, for instance, that was for advocacy. Yeah.
So have you ever thought of taking your plays on tour?
Yes, I have. Eventually, by God's grace, we will. But for now, we're in Abuja.
I see you on Broadway though. I need the play to go on tour. I need you to go to Broadway, because what you're doing is Broadway in Nigeria. I don't know if there's a name we have for it in Nigeria, but
I'm not sure.
But it's pure Broadway. The acting, the dance, I think you really should, I think it's something that should only show in Abuja. It should be in Lagos, and definitely should be abroad, because all your plays are so impactful.
Yes, well, Abuja doesn't have hasn't theater space isn't as developed as Lagos. So I think that it's good to grow Abuja.
To grow Abuja?
Yes.
Yes, you can grow us, but still. Don't mind me. I feel like I'm more excited about it.
Yeah, I know I am. And I'm grateful for you. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Now, about the movement, I want to ask you, do you have any advice to give? So many women, and I was just talking to someone recently about how, in my life, how, because I did well in school, it's as if everybody carved a path for you in a way. I remember one time I was like, I'm going to stop practicing. And then what I heard from everyone was like, then what else can you do? Do you understand? It's almost like everybody puts you in this box. Yeah. And really be honest, sometimes it's very hard for you to say, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to, even this, how you said, okay, I'm going to stay home now. I'm going to do this. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, and sometimes people want to make moves. Like some people are sitting down and saying, I've always dreamt to do this, but I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I could be good at it. How am I going to, change? How am I going to make this move? It takes a lot. What advice do you have for women stuck in this place where I need to make certain decisions of my life? And I always tell people that you don't want to, when you look back on your life, you want to know you did all that you dreamt to be. Yeah. But sometimes it's hard because you're placed, so culture or marriage, someone places you in a particular box. And so what advice will you give women that want to make a move or still have what they want to do, but not the courage to leap for it?
I would say go for it, but be realistic about your expectations and your actions. For me, my situation is that I have a very supportive partner. My husband is very supportive. So I know that even if I didn't work or all of that, there's still the financial aspects of my life and my family. But if your family is dependent on your 9 to 5, then I don't know whether it would be a good idea to just abandon it and go and pursue your dream. Maybe you can do both together so that you don't not pursue your passion. It's important because you'll be frustrated later on. So I absolutely agree that if there's something that you're passionate about, go for it, try it, and it's better to try and fail than not to try at all. And I know also you regret the things you didn't do more than the things that you did, for sure. Yes. So you have to try, but you also have to be realistic about your reality is not the next person's reality. So that was why the decision for me to even stop law was painful, but it was okay to do because I had my husband was able to manage the family. So for instance, if I was the main income earner, it wouldn't be a good idea for me to just stop work and sit at home. Do you see what I mean?
Yes,
so
yes,
you
for
have
sure.
to be realistic about your
situation.
Yeah. So
Okay. So what legacy, now the last question, what legacy do you hope to leave behind with your work in the arts?
well, we just started, so we're not really thinking that far.
Oh, there's already a legacy already. You hear C3 Media and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to go there and I'm going to carry something with me.
Well, like
So,
for me, I told you that the actors, the dancers, I like to see them grow. I'm happy to see them live their dream because they are so passionate about their art. So I see them grow and I'm happy to see them grow. I want to contribute to the growth of the theater space. I want to encourage the thespians to know that, don't give up on your calling, on your skill, hone the skills, work hard, be committed, and that spirit of excellence. I always tell my people, don't give up on that. You have to give your best. The opportunity to get on stage, take it as a platform to showcase your skill. You don't know who is in the audience. You don't know where that production will go. So for me, just creating an opportunity for them to grow. I love to teach. One day, by the grace of God, I will be able to do it in a formal setting. But I like to encourage young people, to showcase their skill, to live their dream, to do their best, and to grow. It's important for them to grow. So for me, if I've touched a life or lives in the theater space, especially of the young people who are so passionate, I'm happy.
I already see that. So you're really leaving a legacy. It's just started. Like the legacy is in the people that you're bringing up.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to forget their experience in C3. They're not going to forget what they've learned, and they're going to pay it forward. And I think that's what legacy really is about. It's just something that keeps on going and going and going. Now, what was the last word? I always like to give the last word you want to say about your transition from law, home to theater, and what, your work, creativity, your journey. What last word do you want to tell our audience?
Well, I always say that, whatever situation that you find yourself, just give it your best. You're not expected to do more than your best. So, with theater, I'm hoping that I give my best. I do what I can do, the best I can do. And I tell my people as well, every opportunity that we have, bring your best on board. That's what is expected of us, even as Christians. You have to do your best. You cannot, and really no one expects you to do other than that. So that you don't go home and you say, oh, I should have done this better, I should have done this. So the time that you have, just give it your best.
Perfect. Awesome.
C3 Media Theatre House presents Chronicles of Ronsewa CS, a stage play mirroring regret, past mistakes and their consequences. Date, Saturday, December 14th, 2024. Time, first show 3 p.m, second show 6 p.m. Venue, NAF Conference Center, Abuja. Tickets, regular 10,000 naira, VIP 20,000 naira. Tickets available at Gogzi Cakes, 38 Ghana Street, Maitama, Abuja. 3A Cairo Christian, Wusetu, Abuja. Guava Cocktail and Tapas Bar, All Peppers Mall, Adetokumba Ademola Christian, Wusetu, Abuja. www.tickethub.ng. For inquiries, call 0810-450-0609, 0802-363-7745. Chronicles of Ronsewa CS, written and produced by Victoria Nwuche, directed by Shola Oyeniyi, choreographed by Michael Atwong. As we continue our gear of stories, join us to finish on a reflective note and be inspired to be better.
This was such a wonderful, wonderful episode on her journey, Mrs. Victoria Nwuche's journey, but also on creativity and on the courage to also make the moves of pursuing your dreams. So thank you for joining us on this inspiring episode of HERcast with Dr. Chito. Today, we have explored what it truly means to redefine success by turning passion into purpose, hearing firsthand how creativity, resilience, and courage can transform lives. HERcast with Dr. Chito empowers women to overcome barriers, gain knowledge, and thrive. Inspired by my journey, this platform tackles societal challenges, equipping women to break limits and reach their full potential in all areas of life. With the tagline, Her Strength, Your Inspiration, HERcast inspires women to rise, live authentically, and embrace their greatness. So listen now to our episodes on YouTube and also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can also watch on YouTube, HERcast with Dr. Chito. Follow us at HERcast Podcast and at Dr. Chito N. And we're also on Rapid TV, channel 176 Star Times, Saturday 7 p.m. and Sunday 2 p.m. Until next time, I'm Dr. Chito, reminding you to live boldly and lead with heart. See you on the next HERcast.